So for those of you that don't know, a couple of weeks before Pasadena, about a month, I started testing hardcore. I was I was testing. That's the noise I make while I'm testing. And unlike the last time that I tested for a YCS, I actually did it. One, two. We had good people who were also testing. This is not always true. Usually we just have Danny, and he fucking sucks. That's a joke. Danny was around. I really appreciate it. But so about a week in, it became clear that the only thing worth doing was a Shizu tier. Like the absolute only thing worth doing was playing a Shizu tier. And after a week and a couple of days, it became clear that I was not going to be up to snuff on a Shizu tier by the time of the tournament. So I thought, there's really only one deck that I can play for this event because it's the only other deck that's competitive in a format where a Shizu tier is tier 0, and it is Floowandereeze. So I picked up Floowandereeze, and I've been playing it for a couple of weeks. Then at Minneapolis, Sereminon's friend topped with Floowandereeze, doing some really unconventional stuff. Completely changed how I play the game, the play style of the deck. I gotta tell you, high-level Floowandereeze play is really interesting. It is really, really, really interesting. I hate to be like this. I know that everyone's like, oh, it's a barrier statue pass. It just isn't. It is just not. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of the keys to the kingdom here. Do a combo? Yeah, sure. We'll do one real quick. Let me see if my deck is up. Oh, this was... Is that video up yet, by the way? I'd love to pump that. Let's go to solo mode. So, here's the short of it. This hand is maybe good. All right, let's try that again. I'm trying to grab a hand that shows it off. I guess I could just engineer one myself. Yeah, I mean, this would do it. So we terraforming here for the field spell. We prosby. We're trying to get Rabina here, but we can get anything. Like winds would be good. Oh, M-Pen's kind of silly. I actually don't want any of this. So let's just grab duality. This will do it regardless, because people always give you Rabina off of Jack in the hand. Wow. Yeah, we would take Dreaming Town here. Then we Jack in the hand. It would probably get us Rabina, but even if it doesn't, it's fine. We'll just pretend that it did for the sake of showing this off. So the unfortunate truth of the matter is that the barrier statue singleton Dreaming Town is not sufficient to win the game in the modern era. That's because every deck has multiple ways to out the barrier statue. They play mainboard things that clear it. And as a result, you are just dead in the water. You add to that the fact that Dreaming Town is main phase only. That means that if your opponent is playing out of the board something like Tearlament's Heartbeat, something like Cosmic Cyclone, have a really, really clean out, and because this is your only search over the course of the turn that can hit it with 100% consistency. So, here's what I did as much as I could over the event. We'd go Magnificent Map, Summon Rabina. We'd reveal M-Pen. We go Rabina here. We grab Toucan. We Toucan target M-Pen. We'll go like this. This, add M-Pen to hand. We perform our normal. M-Pen 1, Rabina 2, Toucan 3. And we'll grab Dreaming Town. We'll perform a normal of a bird that we've already used the effect of. Here I'm going to go Toucan because it's not like integral to have in hand. We'll use our normal on Eaglin. We go Eaglin, search the second M-Pen. Here's a fun fact you might not be aware of. This card is not a once per turn. There are just not once per turns on any of this shit.
That was
so we
wrong.
go normal M-Pen, grab Eaglin back, M-Pen resolve, we grab wins. And then you can go wins, Dreaming Town, right? Now, you might be thinking here, how is this better? Well, firstly, they're not going to be able to hit 2 Dreaming Towns unless they drew double Cosmic. Secondly, Unexplored Winds contests the most problematic card for you in the tier matchup, which is Perlino. Thirdly, if they normal summon a any monster, you do get to do the map thing, and you can obviously just go for crazy stuff there. And fourthly, the play that punishes not having the barrier statue on field is go sheer in effect, pitch a guy. But if they go sheer in effect, pitch a guy, you chain Dreaming Town. At point of resolution, you go Robina. Because they are turn player, they'll activate all their tiers first. Then you'll activate Robina CL2 and use Robina in order to grab the barrier statue of the Stormwinds and cut them off, right? Good players will know that you are doing that, and they will tailor their plays accordingly. Fun fact also, Dreaming Town is not a once per turn for some fucking reason. This is an adorable line. The Robina is super flexible. It can get DD Crow in certain hands, or if, Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds isn't particularly good. What do you do if your opponent says end of main? Me, in this situation, I probably fire a Dreaming Town, and I just go through a line that gets me a bunch of advantage, and then I let them do it. Like, if they leave M-Pen on the field, they leave M-Pen on the field. Yeah. It's not once per turn. It is once per turn. Is it? Huh. Now, which effect of this is once per turn? Is it the one that performs a normal summon? Or is it the one that says flip all monsters face down? Interesting. Now, does it say each effect or this effect? Yeah. How many times did you brick at the YCS? Once. Sorry. Twice, but once I lost for an external reason. How are you finding the first M-Pen? You can search it off Eaglin, or you can banish it off map to grab it back with Toucan. So I liked this a lot. I thought that my list was pretty good. I'll just show it off here. I did get to day 2. I was very happy with my performance, but I'll talk about the tournament in a sec. The Floowandereeze that got to top 32 was playing Nadir Servant, which I was doing until maybe a couple of days before the actual event proper ended, or started rather. And then I audibled off of it because I was like, it's not good enough. It's got these weird nombos with shifter, but if you watch the top 32 Flu profile, that guy's explanation, especially when he gets to the sideboard about how Nadir interacts with existing board states, is really, really good and important. And moving forward, I would definitely play Nadir Servant. I would 100% do it. The other thing I would probably do is play the second barrier statue main. I boarded it, but 1 Toucan and 2 Stree, why not the reverse? I actually want to play 1 and 1, but I never want to give my opponent the opportunity off Jack in the hand to take my only Toucan. So I go Stree here, and occasionally they'll take Stree, and it's like, okay, I still have a Stree. Stree is very, very bad. I board out of one of these every single game. It is such a liability in a format where everyone's on Mudora and Keldo. What are the last few side deck cards? Oh, it's a Rivalry. It's nothing interesting. But I would say, how did Jack treat you? Jack was incredible. Jack was the fact that Jack wasn't Rhoda came up once in a game that I was already winning. Was Featherstorm good? Featherstorm was quite good. It was very, very good. So here's what happened. How many Dogmatica names do you play? Just the one. You can get it from the graveyard too. So let's go through the actual games. Do you just lose if your opponent draws Harpies or Lightning Storm? No. If they draw Harpy, you just go, okay, I will now do the line. If they draw a Lightning Storm, what are they calling? Back row? Okay, I will end on M-Pen, Barrier Statue. That's fine. Lose your battle phase. If they pass back to you and you have M-Pen plus a way to a second map, you just win. Anyway, let's go through the individual rounds. Let me piss real quick. I actually have to piss very bad. I have to shit really bad, too. Ugh. Can I shit? I really have to shit. Can I shit, everyone? Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta shit. Let me throw on my YCS Pasadena vlog. What could we watch that's like 10 minutes? This.
All right, duelists, welcome back to Team APS Plus, and you guys all know
myself too, this is gonna
exactly
be a
why we're here
bomb.
today. YCS Pasadena was just this past weekend. It was the first major Yu-Gi-Oh event since the release of Magnificent Mavens, and this was a very long-awaited set for some pretty obvious reasons. It introduced the Ishizu cards into the game, and these were some highly anticipated and maybe feared cards that were supposed to help the already very strong Tier Elements deck become the Tier 0 deck that everybody has been fearing. So, did it actually happen? Well, the answer is yes, without a doubt. This deck is extremely dominant, and the results so far suggest that it is definitely a Tier 0 deck. Now, whether or not that continues remains to be seen, but I wanted to hop into some of the coverage of the event, share some thoughts of mine, some takes. The sort of, I guess, abridged answer to all of this is that I think that this deck probably is going to get hit sooner rather than later. Not necessarily for the reason you might think, although it has kind of been already a topic of conversation. All right, let's just hop into everything. So, first of all, I want to say congratulations to the winner. This was Hani Jawari. He piloted his Shizu Tier Elements deck with precision and aggression to come out on top, beating 1,805 other duelists to become YCS Pasadena champion. So he was playing up against Jesse Cotton in the finals. I caught some of the parts of it on stream, and it looked really intense. It looked like a lot of fun. Both players certainly were, making a lot of decisions, and there was a fair amount of interaction going on. And a lot of people online seem to agree that that was a thing. We're going to get a little bit more back into that in a second, but yeah. As for the representation of the Tier Elements deck, this is the top 32 breakdown in a pie chart. So Tier Elements took 81% of the top spots. That's 26 different Ishizu Tier Elements decks, 3 Sprite decks, one was Pure, 2 were Bestial, and 3 Floowandereeze decks in all of top 32. Now, typically the cutoff point that most people sort of share regarding when a deck is Tier 0 is like 65%, or about 2/3 of representation all going to one deck. Well, clearly that's not missing here. The Ishizu Tier Elements deck definitely took the top spots, and only 2 other decks were really able to make a dent. So that's telling. Also, you might have seen this picture going around on the internet. So yeah, this was a feature match between Pac, shoutouts to him, and Hani, who ended up winning the event. This was an Ishizu Tier Elements Ditto, and it's chaos, right? Like, this is just kind of a nightmare. There are cards everywhere that are, that have been milled, cards that are already in the grave. There are cards that are banished. There's monsters in the field that you would be hard pressed to make out the difference. Players have cards in hand. Cards are everywhere. And it's really pretty insane. This is not a great look.
Like the most efficient shit of my life. Just went boom. Oh, God. Oh, Lord, I'm feeling so much better now. Oh my God. When I'm on vacation, I just don't really shit. This always happens. I just don't really shit. I come home.
That was wrong.
There it is. Anyway, so this is the deck I was playing. I want to thank real quick everyone who tested with me, all my friends, but especially I'd like to thank Rebby, who picked up, and Danny, who picked up a bunch of like off meta decks at the last second, so I could ensure that I didn't auto lose to Rogue, and Josh, Bean Soldier TV. The day of the event, I show up and we played probably like 100 games. Legitimately, like, the day of, we just kept playing it. We were practicing the matchup over and over and over again. And more than anything else, and Josh vocalized this even, we were just having fun. We were having a great time. The Tier versus Flu match is really engaging. There's a lot of points of interaction. Both decks have a lot of play at all stages of the game. It's just there's so much meat to it. It really is. There's a ton of meat. And so we played like 100 of these just over and over and over again. Everyone's saying that's copium. I promise you just haven't played it. Many of you are saying that's copium with a literal, like, baseline understanding of what Flu is doing, like what the goal of Flu is. You're like, oh, you normal barrier statue. How could that be fun? Well, you have to actually play the deck. I mean, many people will disagree with me here, but I will say it. Dimension Shifter does not beat Tier. Tier can, and you will shit your pants to hear this, play through Dimension Shifter. We did it a ton. The reason that I'm on Dark Ruler No More is because if I open Shifter, I still have to beat the board. It's crazy. The deck can just do everything. How often did Dim Fissure come up? I didn't see it at all. I boarded it in constantly. I never saw it.
That was wrong.
Any chance you could show the top 32 flu list? Yeah. I mean, you could just look it up. I disagree with kind of the concept behind it, but the theory, like, I disagree with the fundamental premises of the theory that you need to be making barrier statue and then protecting it. But I agree with the choices made if you buy that premise. I think that he's like onto the right stuff. But moving forward, if I was playing this list, I would not play Called By. It was as bad as everyone said it was. In testing, I would like use it to negate Orange Light, but it only works if they Orange Light without a Keldo or a Mudora. Like, it has to be an Agito. I would play the second Barrier Statue main, probably over like a Stree. Yeah. Real quick though, no Mist Valley Apex Avion in the main. I want to play as few as possible. The next big guy I would play would be the third M-Pen over anything else. Are you all getting effed? It's not on my end. I have no connection problems. Interesting. EU problems must have been. But yeah, no. So here's how my event went. I came into the event wanting to day 2. That was my goal. You know, I felt really disappointed that at the last couple of events I've missed day 2 by like a match, and it was really frustrating. Especially because like I don't feel like, oh my god, the Sprite one I tested so much for the mirror and just like did not get the tier rep in that I needed, and then tier was the deck to beat at Niagara, and I just like felt like a fucking moron. This time I will say the testing was extremely important, very, very important. I maybe would have wanted to test against Sprite a little more so I could pivot more effectively, but it was good. It was good for sure. So we go into I get in. So here's how my event goes. I take a flight into Pasadena. The flight sucks, obviously. I meet up with Doug at the airport. We go to 7-Eleven so I can pick up some energy drinks. And then we go to the like house, right? The Airbnb. The Airbnb is me and Crush Cards and Gage and Chaotic Meatball and Gage's crew, which is Josh and Dan. And we are just jamming a fuckload of games. So I'm like, okay, so I've been playing against Josh for, 2 hours, playing a Shizu tier. What is everyone else on, right? What is everyone else playing? Doug is on Exo Sister. Brian and Logan are on Live Twin Sprite. I know, shocking. And like a going second Zodiac list because Logan is just fucking done with the format. Dan's on Sprite, and I'm like, Gage, what are you on? And Gage goes, I think I'm going to play Naturia. And I'm like, what do you mean you think you're going to play Naturia? And he's like, yeah, I think that it might be the pick. And I'm like, okay, do you need a list? He's like, no, I already submitted. And I'm like, you already submitted your deck list? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. I saw a tweet on Josh Schmidt's Twitter. He sends me the list. Let me actually see if I can find the tweet that Josh made. It's got to be like this weekend, right? Yeah, I can't find it. But on his Twitter, he talked about Naturia at one point. And there's a video for it. Let me see. I'm looking.
Easy clap.
What can even compete?
Do we put Rune?
Oh, you found it? Good.
Easy clap.
Oh, it is in here.
Banger tweet. Now let's move on with modern day content, shall we? That was a
I'm not
good
seeing no
blast
list.
from the past. Let us.
I ain't seeing no list.
What is up, everybody? This is Josh back with another video, or whatever. Both players mill 5 cards.
There's a list
in
here.
terms of deck building, which is why I'm not a huge fan of the concept. In general, I like to be a solid deck.
Here we go. So, Josh threw together this list in, I think, literally maybe like 30 minutes. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Gage just took it. He was like, yeah, let's go. I don't know any of these cards. Let's register it. So, a couple of things I would disagree with about this list. In Naturia specifically, you don't really need to max out on the millers because you're going to hit, the only good hit really is Tree, and you're going to hit Tree anyway, right? But you do need to max out on Mudora and Keldo. I mean, those are really important. You need to play more Vernisylphs. We're playing 3 here. You probably need 9. I would play, we played in our list 7 plus Vera. Really love that. Naturia Vayne would not be my first choice. In fact, I don't think that is probably even remotely worth playing. And Blessing could probably go to 2, right? So I tell Gage this, and he goes, "Oh no, that's fine. We're fine." And I go, "Okay." Like this is a, for what it's worth, this list came out a week and change ago. Like this is clearly a day 1 build, right? So we start testing, and Gage is not winning a game. He is not winning a single game. And it's because, not only is he unpracticed with the deck and everything, he just picked it up today. Naturia is a graveyard strategy in a format where everyone is prepared to beat a graveyard strategy that is better equipped. So we're just like shiftering him. We're just like blowing him out. So then later that night, Pack and crew come over. And Pack says, "You know what, Gage? I'll help you test. Give me Logan's deck, the like blind second stuff." And Pack starts playing against Gage, and he goes like 10-0. And Gage, I mean, I really thought he was going to fucking quit Yu-Gi-Oh! I was like, oh my good God. It was rough. So at this point, I go to bed. I did not know this, by the way. Everyone that Gage knows snores. So I go to bed. I get as much sleep as I can. Wake up the next morning bright and early. We go over to the venue, right? We go over to the venue, and I sit down for my first round. I open my hand. Nothing. It is just not playable. I just look at it, and I'm like, this better not be my whole fucking day. It just can't be. God damn it. And I go, okay, I can bluff.
That was
Maybe
wrong.
I can bluff like I don't know what I can bluff. I can bluff a brick of all bricks. Like maybe I'm trying to imagine a tier limit hand that like would brick the way I did. And I'm like, okay, Celiac Crime would be part of it. So I set 2 and I pass. My opponent starts, they go normal magical musketeer Caspar. And I go, no, not like this. I go, yeah. And they go max summon 2. And I'm like, let's go next. We go next. I'm like, I can't go first, but I have to go first. So I go, I'll go first. I open, playable. It's not great, but it's playable. One of the worst hands the deck can produce, but it does actually do the combo. So I do the combo. I end on like Barrier Statue, like it's like 2019. It's just a normal ass combo. My opponent goes Dark Ruler. I go, yeah. They go Cosmic your thing in draw phase. I go, yeah. They go Dark Ruler. I go, yeah. They go normal Magical Musketeer Starfire. And I go, son of a fucking bitch. I can't believe this. They get dangerously close to blowing me out again. They set 1 card. They pass. I'm like, only map gets me out of this. I draw. It's map. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Map. Reveal Rabina. They go, yeah. I go, Rabina. Eaglin 2. They go, yeah. I go, Eaglin. Grab M-Pen. They go, summon limit. And I go, summon limit. You're going second. Why? Why would you do this to me? And so I lost. And this was the most devastating thing that could have happened, because in testing, all I was scared of was Rogue. I was like, if I win my first match, I'm golden for the rest of the day. But if I lose my first match, I'm going to hit the dregs of human civilization, and I'm going to have to play against garbage that my deck does not beat because it is a meta call. And so I sit down for round 2. I'm so pissed at myself. My opponent wins the die roll. They go, I'll activate Planet. And I go, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my God, thank you so much. We play out a tier match, I win. Round 3, we play out a tier match, I win. I'm like, thank the fucking Lord, baby, we're back in tier. Round 4, 2-1. I see that they have put me at table 2050, and I go, what the fuck? It's a VIP table. I go up to the VIP guy, and I'm like, oh, so you won a VIP qualifier. You've got the 2-round bye. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, mentally, I'm like, and you lost your 3rd round, huh? But I don't say that. I just go like, oh, so last round was rough or something. He goes, yeah, just didn't really plan out against Flu. And I go, interesting. It was Sprite. Didn't really have a Flu plan. But because he didn't have a Flu plan and a lot of experience against the deck, it was slow, and we went to time in game 2 in a position where I probably couldn't win in time. I maybe should have scooped, but I was so ahead on board, and Sprite has so many ways, especially out of the board, to take a 5-minute turn and then win in time. I was like, fine, we'll take the tie. So from this position, I have one more loss to give, and I have to win out for the rest of the day. Sit down for round 4. It is tier.
That was
Cleaned it
wrong.
up. Sit down for round or 5 rather. Sit down for round 6, and my opponent goes. Sit down for round 6. It's tier again, and I lose. I'm 3-2-1, and I'm like, fuck. I have to win fucking 2 in a row now. My opponent sits down for round 7, or 3-2-1. Yeah, I have to win 3 in a row. My opponent sits down for round 7, and he goes, "Oh well. If I was going to lose, it was going to be like this." And I go, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, that it would be you." And I was like, okay. And I kind of clock my opponent. They're like, their mannerisms are like, they're just kind of excited to be here. And I'm like, I wonder what they're playing. And my opponent goes, Sark. And I go, oh, son of a bitch. It's the mirror. Oh, God. Okay, no big deal. We've practiced the mirror. I'm ready. He goes, I'll banish Tempest. And I go, it's not the mirror. It's not the mirror at all. It's Dragoonity. I'm looking at a hand with a Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds in it, and I'm like, yeah.
That was wrong.
So he says this, and he goes, you ever watch Phoenix Flare X? And I'm like, I'm familiar. And so he adds Remus, and I go, watch how familiar I am, motherfucker. Shifter. And he can't play under Shifter. I win that game. Second game, he goes first. He's making a board. I'm like, this deck is so fucking bad. Like, it doesn't do anything. He goes 55-step combo to make a red bear. I'm like, oh yeah, a red bear. Yeah, that's gonna do it. 1 negate. Oh, holy shit. There's just no way. Then he makes fucking Scarlight. And I go, Scarlight? Huh? I'm like, we have 20 minutes. You're not going to take a 20-minute turn. He goes, Scarlight passes. I draw for turn. He goes, I will tribute Scarlight for EEV. And I go, right. Yeah, for sure. You got it, dude. So we go to game 3. I open the stones, and I activate Featherstorm. It's his first time reading Featherstorm. Reads Featherstorm. He's like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, whoa. He goes, passes back to me. I draw, and then I Ryza to put Featherstorm back at the end phase, and I loop him 3 turns in a row. And I was just like, this is so fucking bleak. I'm sorry, dog. We are just going to Featherstorm every single turn. And he legitimately, like, at the end was like, yeah. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, this is what the deck does. It's just rough, yeah. So then, after that, I'm like, thank God I'm out of the rogue bracket. Give me another tier, please. Thank you. I sit down. My opponent goes, oh, hey, it's you. I go, it's me. And they're like, oh, man. Hey, you came in with Doug, right? And I go, yeah, I came in with Doug. And he goes, well, I hope to do him proud with this deck. And I go, you hope to what? Like, you hope to do him proud with this deck? So Doug had been on feature last round with Exo. And I'm like, oh, he's on Exo. Or is he? Because he could also be on Fabled. Or, horrifyingly, he could be on Geist. Opponent wins the die roll. They normal Mario. And I go, uh-oh. Oh, no. Not good. They set
That
up.
was wrong.
I draw. I do my line. I clear the board. They go Mystic Mine. I have 2 Mystic Mine outs in the main deck. Wins, which is damn hard to search if you cannot activate monster effects.
That was wrong.
And Harpies. So I draw. It's Prospy. I go Prospy. I go whiff, Feather Duster. And I was like, thank you
That was
so
wrong.
much. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Lord, for doing what I needed. And so game 2, we just do more stupid bullshit. He blows me out.
That
Game
was
3,
wrong.
I do the line. He does the line. I resolve like evenly matched a couple of times or something, and I end up winning the set. And we get out of it, and I'm just like,
That
okay,
was
sure.
wrong.
So finally, very last one of these, I go, all right, this is my winning in. All I got to do is clear one last match, and I got it.
That was wrong.
So here's what's happened around me during that time. Alex is out. He dropped at X2-1. He was just like, I'm done playing. Doug went 4-0, and then the wheels fell off, and he dropped. Josh
was
is
wrong.
live. Sir Aminon is live. And that's it. And so Gage dropped round 1, by the way. So we're like chilling.
That was wrong.
And I'm like, okay, one more. I'm feeling good. Josh at this point is X1, and we think that he has not only a good chance of clearing, he has a good chance of like actually clearing with the amount of wins necessary to top.
That
And we're
was
like
wrong.
super excited about it. He comes down and he goes, I'm out. I go, you're out? You just lost one? You dropped? You were that mad? I mean, X2 can still top. Like, what the fuck? Especially with breakers this good. He goes, not by my choice. And I go, what
That
happened?
was wrong.
Well, here's what happened. Josh sat down at X1 against Exo. It's his worst matchup.
That was wrong.
He's on a Shizu tier. And he beats Shifter game 1, Dweller Necro Valley game 2. He was like, I played out of my mind. I've never played that well. It was
That was
unbelievable.
wrong.
I get up, I sign the slip, and I realize my fucking name is not on it. I go, no. And he goes, yes. The other person for this match at X1 was a fucking no-show.
wrong.
The person in my match that was supposed to show up and say, where is my opponent, was also a no-show. So I got a match loss for being 10 minutes late to my real round. And I was like, oh my God,
That
that's
was
terrible.
wrong.
But you can still clear. And he goes, no. Because if you get a match loss for not showing to a round, they drop you. And I go tell them. And he goes, they will not put you back. And he was right.
That was
It
wrong.
was horrifying. The moral of this story is check your fucking slips. It was so rough. So, we're going into the last round. I
That
just
was
wanted to
wrong.
day 2. I know that even at X2-1 I have no chance of topping, but I wanted to day 2. I sit down in front of my opponent and we're just chit-chatting. And I'm talking about Doug's round. I was like, yeah, Doug got a feature. I don't know if you saw it. He misplayed versus Sky Striker and it cost him the match. And the guy's like, how do you feel about that deck? And I was like, what do you mean, how
That
do I
was
feel about that
wrong.
deck? Why do you want to know how I feel about Sky Striker? I'm like, it's good. Why? He's like, well, they have the new spell. I'm like, yeah, I think the new spell's fine. He goes, okay. Shuffle up. Of course, he's on fucking Sky Striker. I do the combo. I set 2 wins. I'm Gucci. I pass it back to my opponent. Lightning Storm's calling monster. And I go, uh-oh. I go, okay. Normal Ray, battle. And I'm like, well, I have 2 wins, right? I have 2 wins. He's not going to kill me. He's just doing the stupid fucking Hayate thing for more damage. I'll just wins in main phase 2, and we'll just win the game. And I go, fine. He goes, attack with Ray. I go, yeah. He goes, tag for Hayate. I go, yeah. He goes, attack, 3K, whatever. He bins Rose. He bins Rose or something. I go, whatever. He goes, linkage. I go, huh? He goes, yeah, read this card. I go, all right. No monsters in the extra monster zone or in the main monster zone. I guess you get to tag into another guy. He goes, Kagari. Add back linkage. I go, what's Kagari at? He goes, linkage gives them 1,000 attack. I go, so 25, right? He goes, yeah. He goes, okay, take 25. He goes, linkage. I go, that's not a once per turn? Huh? He goes, yeah, that's right. I go, I'm dead. He goes, you're dead. I go,
That
well,
was
good game.
wrong.
That was a good one. That was a good one. And I'm thinking in my head, I had said to myself, I was like, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to claw my way up from the fucking barrel of hell that my losses have thrown me into, and then the last round is just going to be out of my fucking control. It's going to be some ridiculousness that I'm not prepared for. And of course it is. So we go to game 2. Game 2 is pretty unremarkable. He opens like double evenly, and not double evenly. Opens a lightning storm evenly, and I play through it by making Apex Avian, negating the lightning or negating like a Widow Anchor, and then making Apex Avian again with the second copy of Town. It was very silly, a very strange one. That's why Apex Avian's in the board, by the way, is for rogue matchups. And we go to game 3, and I played, and Josh can chime in here if he's around. Worse than I have ever played in my entire life. Was unbelievable. I was just like flabbergasted at myself. I don't know what happened. So what happens is midway through the match I go, it's been 9 rounds is why. I go wins, shuffle back, I want to say fucking 2 critters for 2 draws. One of the draws is Prospy, because I'm used to going Prospy and then finding wins later. I'm like, okay, Prospy. And my opponent in draw phase goes, wait a minute. And I go, oh, fuck, you're right. We call over a judge, and we spend, no joke, 15 minutes reconstructing this board state. We do get it. We do get the board state back. But oh my God, could the judge have easily been like, this is not a repairable game state. There is just no fucking way. And I was like, yeah. But despite playing like hot ass, I did eventually get it. I was able to get the dub. And I went to my opponent after, and I was like, dog, I really appreciate you. If you had pushed the judge to be like, no, dude, this game state's irreparable, you probably could have gotten it. And he was like, I don't want to win that way. And I was like, you're great. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. But he was kind anyway. But I did have to promise him I will do a 10-minute testing on Sky Striker. Linkage really impressed me. That card is unbelievably strong. I'm truly shocked. So then we wake up the next morning. I go for I go to round 9 or round 10 rather. I shuffle up. I draw in my opener Mist Valley Apex Avian, and I go, uh-oh. I call a judge and I go, what's going on here? I got a sideboard card in my main, and he goes, so that was not very smart of you. That's going to be a warning. And I go, I don't think that it is going to be a warning. And he goes, why do you think it's not going to be a warning? And I go, I received a PE minor yesterday for drawing under Prospy. And he goes, yeah, that's going to be a game loss then. And I go, yeah. And so I take the L. I board for going first. I board into the Feather Storms. I board into the extra copy of the Stormwinds. I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. The hand wasn't great anyway, so there's no guarantee that it even would have worked. And so I draw up. It's crazy. The hand's nuts. It does everything. It's like, bop, 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 bop. I set up everything. I have a loop on Featherstorm. I'm like, that's the end. We'll go to game 3. I can take a game 3 versus like Tier or something. No big deal. My opponent goes Mystic Mine. I go, that's bad, but not that bad. And then they go set 5. And I go, that's bad. That's really bad. No, wait. I lied to you. They went set 4. And then they went One Day of Peace. And I went, no. I'm like, there's only one deck that's playing fucking One Day of Peace. Sure. So I'm like, I have outs to the mine, but I'm holding them for the turn because I know it's fucking mine burn. And I'm like, okay, we'll just wait. And then 3 turns before like the end of the game, my opponent reveals they are in fact not mine burn. They are runic. They're runic. They were runic the whole time. And they just elected to get on the mine game plan. And so they go like, all right, destruction you, slumber you, flashing fire you, draw step, do the same thing again, banish 15, GG. And I was like, damn, I'm fucking stupid. You got it. Yeah. That deck is cool. I like it a lot. And, you know, no shame in losing to it. Unfortunately, I don't think either of us could have cleared it X2-1. We were literally like at the bottom tables of day 2, but it was fun. It was nice. It was nice. He also discarded super well. Like, the discards for hand size all led me to believe, even into the end of the game, that it was mine burn. Because it was like Prospies and shit. And I like, Runic Mine wasn't on my mind if you see Prospies, because you can't play that card because you're trying to use the field spell to draw every turn. But it was just like a normal Runic deck. It had like Sprite shit in it. It's crazy. You were literally the bottom table of round 10. That's not true. There were people to the right of me. But it was funny.
That was wrong.
It was very fun. So then after that, I hung around with Alex for a while, and we both entered the same Time Wizard event and both lost to the same guy, him in round 1, me in finals. I lost to the guy in an unlosable match. I had Drill Warrior coming back every turn. It was Edison. And I normaled a Vanity's Fiend because it had FTK'd him in a previous match. He was on a zombie diva. And then I go, okay, Drill Warrior. And he goes, you are under Vanities. And I go, oh! Okay. That's fine. That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. But the person I was playing against had already won a mat. And I was like, are you attached to these? And he was like, find me after the entire event and we'll work something out. And we did. And so I do have a mat, even though I fucking suck at Edison. He was good though. And the other thing is, I swear to God, I'm fucking face blind. I did not remember anyone this weekend. But my opponent from that match, we finished. He went to go get the mat. Later in the day, he comes up to me with the mat, and I'm like, yeah, I'll sign this for sure. Where do you want it? And he was like, no, you fucking, come on. And I go, oh, right. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. It was exceptionally cringe. Other fun stuff that happened at the event. Doug got a feature. Was very frustrated with himself. You made finals with Monster Mash. That's insane. It wasn't that insane. They're 8-man pods. Making finals means going 2-1. I swear to God, Monster Mash is competitive. I only played against Blackwing. Once I hit a deck that wasn't Blackwing, I was like, fuck. I got to Trap Eater someone. That was very funny. After round 10, you were bottom?
Wrong.
Well, that makes sense because I fucking dropped. That's so funny. I literally dropped round 10. I marked the drop. One, two. Of the people who dropped, I was the lowest one. That's so funny. Top 137. 2,000 people at this event, by the way. It's crazy. Your middle name is Lee? Yeah. After the great Robert E. Lee. I actually don't think that is. It's legitimately not after that guy. But every time someone sees it, they go, after Robert E. Lee? And I go, no. It's after like a fucking grandpa or something. But it was nice. It was a good event. I achieved the goal that I had set out to do. I'm really happy with myself, especially in a format that was, not unkind to Flu, but like it certainly wasn't on the caliber of the other decks. Had a lot of fun. And I love seeing everyone. Thank you to everyone who came by and said hi. Got stuff signed, took pictures. I'll make a thread later in the week and we can all post the pictures, but it is really cute. Maybe like 1,000 fucking people came up to me. It was really nice. But the weirdest person who came up to me by a lot was a person who came up to me and then decided to hand me this and then said, "This is yours," and then left. And I turned around to thank him and he was gone. And I was like, oh, okay. I look at it. It's a flame wingman. It's in a slab. It's in one of the like Ultra Pro slabs, and I'm like, that's weird, just a flame wingman. And I'm going over it. I'm like, oh, it's a fucking parallel. Is this the Mattel? I'm like, oh, it is the Mattel. That's neat. But as you know, the Mattels, aren't really that expensive. Some of the Mattels are, but if you're giving away a card for free, it's not going to be one of the expensive Mattels. Or so I thought. It turns out that the Mattel print of this card is $1,999. Here's one at Mod Play that's $2,500. I would rate this card probably as LP or Mod Play, but wow! The person just came up and handed me $3,000 worth of cardboard. And let me tell you, it looks really nice. And I'm like, who the fuck could have done that? Do you know who it was? It was fucking Progressies. Progressies also said that they topped this event, which narrows it down considerably, but got like 30. So it could only be one of like 32 people. So I would tell you this. I'm not convinced it's Progressies. But if it is Progressies, you and I are square, man. This is it's all good. It's all good in the hood. If it's not you, fuck you. It was not. Okay, never mind. It was Vincent. I don't know who Vincent is. Huh? It was Dyer, yeah. It was wild. It was Peter Griffin. It was Gamer Peter, yeah. It was very nice. Thank you to the person who gave me this. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Pasadena outside of my experience. So first off, a lot went right this event. Konami, I know you watch my stream. I know you read my Twitter. I know you are going to give me, fingers crossed, the Dark World stuff to debut in the United States of America. Very happy that I will be doing that, by the way. I've got maybe 20 lists ready, just ready to ship. And they're all going to be interesting. Every single one. We've got like a mid-range list that tries to loop Grapha, New Rainbow. We've got like a combo list that tries to lock your opponent out, obviously. Saluri stuff. Don't worry. I got you, but only me specifically. You give this shit to Doug, you know what Doug's going to do? Nothing. He's going to say, Tribute Summon Ryza. Rainbow. Anyway. Konami, I know you watch. Have to tell you. This event was incredible. It was so good. It was after Niagara, I had felt that I was like, this is embarrassing that we have entered the year of our Lord 2022 and events are still being run this poorly. This event was awesome. It was so sick. From the get, this huge place outside the venue where the vendors were, they weren't in the actual venue. Great idea. I was able to go around, talk to people, pick up stuff at the same time, and stuff was running out. There was just so many people there. Caps at 2,000, fantastic. The room was big enough for 2,000 people. If there was the vaccination line was atrocious, it was fine. I mean, it was big day one when everyone came before the event space opened, obviously, but it was generally fine. Anyway, big space. They had the whole fucking setup. It was beautiful. But I will say the one problem was that they were on some rounds, they were doing paper pairings only. That shit is not sustainable. They had like 14 different places you could go for pairings, like one for every other letter of the alphabet. It was still unsustainable. Like, that is just not... You got to find a way to fix that for future ones, obviously. Oh, you all have ads? Damn, that's rough. If only there was a way to circumvent that. Anyway, many people were saying the side event lines were too long. I didn't play very many side events, so I wouldn't know. Simo and I signed up for a Time Wizard in 30 seconds. It was hilariously easy. I think some of the more popular ones were crazy, but there were 2,000 people there. Like, what do you expect? Of these side events, Konami, Time Wizard is a home fucking run. It is such a cool side event. Tons of GOAT formats fired, but I think 50 Edison flights fired at 8 all weekend. It was so nice. The mat they gave out, the lad mat, the cleanest mat in decades. It's lovely. Oh my God, it was just so nice. I'm going to try to, next event before, like maybe a week before, I'll get the community, like all of us, to pick a really shitty format and all try and sign up at the same time. Like everyone prep like a 2018 Spiral format and get them to fire it. That would be very funny. But I just loved it. It was so much fun. And I got to tell you, the Edison events specifically were so nostalgic. I like to clown on people who like Yu-Gi-Oh! For like silly nostalgia reasons because I think it continues to be good. But there's something about sitting down with everyone, and because every card has been reprinted to death, you all have fun, unique, really shiny rarities for your blinged out fucking decks. They were very lax about calculators for this one because there was a difference in comp REL at the time where you could use calculators. And so people showed up with the TI-84 and the case, and we're all just like, we're chilling. We're like normal somebody fucking Shora, and it felt so good. It was just so nice. And I realized I'm very bad at Edison. I'm not very good after all. It was really, really nice. But we'll see. I didn't get to play any Rivalry. I did really want to. I saw that they had changed up the decks a little bit. Happy about that. But Dual Avatar is still in. Please give us a deck that does more than one thing. The giant cards were crazy. For Speed Duel, the giant card was fucking Bubble Man. It's unbelievable. But it was what it was. The tag duels I did not see either, but the fact that they even hosted a fucking tag duel event is so funny. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that the side event 3v3 is just like very poorly attended. I thought that it was going to be like a home run, but the side event 3v3 was actually really like they capped it at 8 teams. And I was like, "Oh my God, no one got in." And they're like, "No, we've been waiting to fire for an hour." And I was like, "What?" I was like, whatever. It is what it is. Met a lot of really cool people. Very happy. I will say, it always heartens me to see this, but a lot of women, a lot of trans people, a lot of people from all walks of life. The community is becoming more diverse. It's nice. It's very nice. I will say, there was one huge mistake I made, and this is not going to help the ableism allegations, okay? I was in the Jaden Yuki line. I didn't get the Jaden signature. I bought a fucking E-Hero Neos in Pharaoh's Rare to get signed, and I just didn't have time to do it. But I was in line, and the people in front of me were in line as well. And I was like, fuck. Excuse me, do you know how many things we can get signed? And they didn't respond. I was like, excuse me. Like, hey, excuse me. Hello. What? Hey. And nothing. And then I look over and I'm like, fuck, they're signing. Oh, no. Oh, and I just like tried really quick to be like, oh, maybe they didn't see me, but they did. They saw me in the corner of the eye and they were like, hi. And then they wrote on their phone. They're like, yeah, we can't speak. Like, we can't fucking hear. And I'm like, I know, I'm so sorry. But I didn't know how to say that. So to whip out my phone, I had to be like, I am very sorry. My B dog. You know, it was, oh my God. It was truly an MB tragedy. Oh. But the event was crazy. The actual like competitiveness of the event, this is where I get canceled. All right. I fucking love this format. I think this format is incredible. Here's why. For so long, we have whined about 55 negate boards that play through a million hand traps. We've whined about the necessity of putting cards in your deck that stop your opponent's plays. We've whined about floodgates. We've whined about ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. We finally have a format in which the top two decks are cool, explosive combo. The top two decks, the top one deck twice. We finally have a format where the top deck is a cool, explosive combo deck that doesn't really end on negates, during which both players are playing the entire time. It's not like Adamancipator, where even though the deck is beatable, you have to sit through a 10-minute turn one while they invent new ways to negate things. They legitimately allow both players to play the entire time. It's robust enough that it can play through anything, and that means that floodgates aren't particularly good against it. Even shit like D-Shifter and Dweller have outs and counterplay. The skilled player wins the mirror so much of the time. It's just a wonderful, wonderful format. I even think the second and third best decks, Sprite and Flu, are in great positions. Both have adapted their game plan to not be boring floodgate bullshit because they have to in order to keep up, and both have the capacity to take games off of Tierlament in ways that matter. I know that it was week one and Tier did a lot. I imagine that it will do less next time, but still, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty dominating. But I do think there are three really good options for decks that have a lot of fun, interesting counterplay with everything else. But I get it. Like, I understand why people hate it. To me, this is a historically competitive format. It is really fun. The games are interesting. There's none of the bullshit that I usually hate in Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is one player sitting on their dick for 30 minutes while the other one looks at them like their dick and sees how long they can get it.
That was wrong.
But it's still a tier 0 format, right? Dweller was ZZZZZ. Not at all! Not at all! I mean, yes, a little. Dweller is certainly the least fun card that is being played, but there are ways to out it. People were on Orange Light, and there are ways to play through it. Jesse Cotton was winning a back and forth over the course of 4 turns. He was under Dweller. The Magnum Up banished the Druisworm target, was play of the game, like, kill worthy. And who won that game? The guy who Magnumutted the Druisworm target. Like, there are ways to beat Dweller. There are ways to, like, it was good and had back and forth for a reason. Like, I'm sorry. If you watch that finals and think that it is uninteractive floodgate bullshit, your brain's broken. You're stupid. You're just not very smart. The dark target, right? Also, no mine pog. Mine's around, but it's not great. It's really not great. The problem is the match is just hard. It's just really difficult. The mirror is, in my opinion, the most skill testing mirror of all time. Certainly the most skill testing while I've been playing. You know, maybe like fucking goat mirrors were worse, but like, it's a lot. It is extremely, extremely skill intensive, and it is complicated. For a player, it is almost impossible to be playing optimal at all stages of the mirror. And that is really frustrating for players who are playing at a level under others. That sucks. I get it. This is kind of part of a larger discussion. Turn 0 win is interaction for you. Who the fuck won on turn 0? What the fuck does turn 0 win mean? Come on now. This is part of a larger discussion of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So I find tier limit very interesting. I think the fact that it doesn't put up a ton of negates and restrict your opponent's play is really healthy. I think it's a fun deck to be the best one. And I see a lot of people in the comments being like, well, I want alternative strategies to be viable. But what alternative strategies do you want to be viable? Right? Just sound off. Drytron. Okay, see, that's the thing, right? So many of these responses are decks whose main game plan involves making a card or a series of cards that either locks your opponent out of the game entirely by way of a big-ass floodgate monster, or puts up such an insane amount of negates that your opponent can't ever compete. So while I understand the impulse to be like, I wish that this deck was playable, I don't think these decks being playable is necessarily like a fiat good thing. You know, if you were to be like, no, this format sucks, I want a deck like Sun Avalon to be represented. What does that add to the format? A deck that takes a 30-minute turn before setting up 45 negates? Oh, joy. Thank goodness we can all sit through that. Hero? I like Hero. But at the end of the day, Hero is skill drain plus macrocosmos. I don't know. It's a strange position to be in. Because for the first time ever, we have gotten what we wanted. And now, it turns out actually what we wanted was floodgates. We wanted the ability to make YouTube combos in real life. All that shit that we said that we hated, we actually hated it when our opponents did it. We wanted to do it the whole time. So I don't know. It's a hard one for sure. And I'm trying to I'm trying to like reconcile it. I'm trying to figure out like how I feel about it personally. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, because so often when people criticize a format, they're criticizing the unplayability of their own pet deck, which is either one, unplayable in every single format. It's not a new thing. You know, the fact that there are fewer playable decks and those playable decks don't include your deck isn't new. And two, they're trying to enable a deck style that at its core is fundamentally toxic. You know, we talked a lot about this back when people were developing Trinity, is a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is designed to make your opponent not play the game. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is designed to force one player to just sit there and watch. And Tyr is a deck and a mirror that does not do that.
That was wrong.
So, we'll see. You literally played Flu. I mean, if you were here earlier, you'd know that we are not doing floodgate shit for that reason, because it cannot keep up. They have made a deck powerful enough that the floodgate shit cannot keep up. Okay, Farfer told me to watch his thing. Where is the old Farfa tweet? God damn it. This format is very skill-intensive and rewarding. Do you know what else is skill-intensive and rewarding? Aerospace engineering. Doesn't mean I want to do that for fun or to relax. I think the average player doesn't enjoy one-deck formats in such exhaustively long single turns. Two things. One, you played out Emancipator. Do you think they enjoyed the exhaustively long single turn when you were doing it? Two, they're playing the whole time that turn is going on, right? There's back and forth during that turn. That's the point of card design like Havness. Three, and here's what I almost replied to this tweet with when I saw it earlier. Why should I
no
care
refunds.
about the average player? This is this is maybe the beginning of my Joker arc.
That was wrong.
But why should I care what the average player wants? The average Yu-Gi-Oh player wants to load into Master Duel and play Dragon Link Blue Eyes Branded. They can do that. At the top echelon of competitive, I want the game to be very back and forth. I want it to be... Okay, hold up real quick. Who's this person? You have not posted well one time. See ya. I usually give people maybe an hour to figure out how to post, but they weren't learning. At the highest echelon of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, I do want better players to be rewarded for knowing the format and the deck and the interactions. I want games to be interactive on all turns instead of stupid fucking setup turns designed to prevent some person from not playing. At a lower level of competition, locals, regionals, online play, I want there to be a myriad of decks available, and I think there are. Look at the results of the CSM, you know? Look at the results of any of the fucking stupid Master Duel tournaments. Look at the results of your most recent locals. Look at regional results. Naturia just won a regional.
That was wrong.
I would just like a meta at the tippy top that is comprised of a deck as interesting as Tier. CSM is a premier event. Goatee in top 16. Crystal Beast topped a regional. Whoa, 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 whoa. Neshi topped a regional. It's interesting.